Well, there were times where my shift started at 3 a.m.
Yeah, so.
And I would literally leave the bar. I would go home, put my uniform on, and go straight to work.
Exactly.
Yes.
And be miserable.
Miserable the entire shift.
You're tired of the hangovers.
I'm tired of being embarrassed the next day.
Tired of making poor choices. Tired of
fighting.
Ruining relationships. Having to argue all the time. Tired of being irresponsible. Not waking up on time. Calling in to work because you don't feel good. You're dehydrated. You don't feel like being around people.
You're already broke from spending all your money at the bar. And then you turn around and call off.
Of work because now you can't even go make more money. So now you just got to continue being broke. Continuously falling short. I don't miss it.
No, I definitely don't miss it. Not at all.
No, I don't miss it. I don't miss it one bit. I'm not sure if y'all can see it or not, but I still got some birthday balloons in the background here. Thanks to my lovely wife. Thank you so much for the balloons.
You're welcome.
And my birthday is also my soberversary. March 14, 2018 is when I decided to get sober. That was a gift to myself, my own personal birthday present to myself. So I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking. So that brings me to a whopping 2,196 days, I think.
Yep.
All right, and you remember yours?
Yes. So I stopped drinking December 8th of 2021. So I'm at 831 days.
831 days. Yes. Y'all clap your hands on the other side of the screen. All right. So yeah, how many years is that?
2 years, 3 months, and 10 days.
2 years, 3 months, and 10 days. For me, myself, that's 6 years. And that's the whole point of making this video, is pretty much we just want to talk about what it's like, because we've been on both sides of it. So what is sobriety like? What has changed? What's the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So for you,
I would say that number one, it's a blessing to even be able to be in that mind frame, to be strong enough and have the determination and will to say, you know what, I'm definitely going down the wrong path, and saying, okay, I need to change. The main reason why I stopped drinking was because of the embarrassment. I didn't know when to stop, and that was my problem. Was, once I got going and I was having a good time, it was 9 times out of 10 a complete disaster. I was always doing something embarrassing. I was the person in the friend group that, people were taking videos and pictures of and then showing me the next day. And that was just really embarrassing, and then even for us, when we were drinking before, we fought all the time, and I was to the point of being extremely angry sometimes, So those things I absolutely do not miss, and I think that, I feel so much better to have that in my past.
I feel you, and I agree. I can relate 100%, probably because I was involved in those fights that we were in.
Sure were.
I was the other person. And it wasn't a physical thing, it was just verbal arguing, verbal arguing, and there's reasons behind it, but when there's alcohol involved, it what did he call it?
It
enhances everything. So the aggression, anger, everything gets so much more enhanced, and you can't have a conversation about things. And for me, it was a million embarrassing moments, a million bad choices, infidelity, staying out late, several times of being blackout drunk, not even knowing what's going on. The DWIs, losing your license. And even if it wasn't an everyday thing, for me, it was an every weekend thing. Every weekend, binge drinking, not stopping. I was drinking till it wasn't nothing left to drink. I was that person that was, if I started drinking Bud Light or Budweiser and all of that was out, what other beer we got in here? Okay, ain't no more beer. What other liquor we got in here? It's just like...
We definitely used to mix a lot of things, which made things way worse.
Just pouring it in there until you pass out, and it was just, for what? And there was just so many bad decisions came from being in that mind frame for so many years. Because we looked forward to it. I definitely looked forward to the weekend. I already knew, my plans were already made. Monday, I knew what I was doing Friday and Saturday night. I already knew.
And now we look forward to the weekend for another reason, which is just to stay in the house together. So, yeah, our lives are completely different now.
It's 100% different. I mean, and it's more peaceful. You know, it's peaceful, but it's because we're making a lot of decisions. Like, we're conscious of everything that we do now. You know, we understand how we're moving throughout our days, you know, how we're treating people, the decisions we're making, being responsible. We're more on top of our game now, so our family is stronger as a result of that, because we're actually thinking for ourselves, and the alcohol is not in the driver's seat. I wouldn't trade this peace of mind for one. I wouldn't trade it in for nothing. I do not miss the old days. You know, I won't say that I didn't have some good times back then. Obviously, you had good times mixed in with it. But when you look back at it, were those good times worth all those horrible moments? Not for me, it wasn't. Not for me, it wasn't. In order for me to hold on to some of the good times I had while being intoxicated, if I had to re-experience all the bad moments too, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
I think sometimes it's, you know, it's easy to be like, especially now because we're in this situation, it's really easy to say, you know, it was all worth it. Personally, I do feel like everything was worth it for us to get to this moment. But you're absolutely right. Like, I would never, ever, ever want to relive those situations because it was extremely traumatizing. And it built a lot of insecurities within myself that took a long time, you know, to like really get through. Yeah. So
years of heavy drinking, you know, since my, I don't know, probably when I was about 18, continuously just nothing but binge drinking. And
it was 18 was whenever you joined the military, right?
I was 19.
Oh, you were 19.
You know what I'm saying? But it's always been a weekend thing. That was the thing. You know, it was just on a weekend, this is what's going down. But it's like so many things that happened while being under the influence. So many things that happened, so many decisions that were made. When I look back at it now and I'm like, I could have avoided all of that because it set me back so much. It set me so far back, you know, from all the money that do you understand how much money that you spend drinking consistently all these years?
And that was even back whenever drinks were relatively cheap. I mean, nowadays, like, I can't even imagine drinking the way that we did. Like, we would have nothing. Yeah. We would have nothing. Yeah. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, because
we spent so much time in the bars and bar hopping and even just buying alcohol for the house, I think sometimes was a bill in itself.
There was times when I would go out to a bar and at a minimum, $100 was a minimum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you think about that, if we only talking a minimum, that's $100. That's $200 a weekend just on paying for the beer at the bar. Yeah. That ain't including what was bought for the house, you know, to pregame on the way to the bar and all that type of...
When we say that it was an every single weekend thing, like, there's no exaggeration in that. I mean, and more so for you, there were some weekends I skipped or, you know, whatever, but it wasn't often.
Right.
That's definitely at least $800 a month at a minimum that you're spending on alcohol. That's not it, though, because there were times, like, whenever... So he was, like, the friendly drunk, though, at the bar. So when he would get, like, going a little bit, and then he's the nice guy that would buy rounds for people, buy shots. Yeah. You know, so it added up very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. You know,
I still don't miss it. I don't miss those days at all.
Obviously, you're older now and you're, wiser. You know, they say you're wiser now and whatever, but it's just like looking back and it's like all the things that we want to do now and all the things that we plan for future-wise and for the family, we want to build ourselves up to be, you know, financially stable and take care of this and that and be able to take these trips and do this for the business, all these things. And then you think about how much money you need to do this. And then you look back at all the money you spent, all the money you drank away. We talking thousands upon thousands of dollars for years and years and years and years. Because I did this even before I met her. Yeah. I've known you for about you might as well say about 16 years. So even before you, I was already binge drinking every single weekend. And for soldiers, that's like
normal.
That's it's normalized, you know. So much money gone, but you always made sure you had money to drink again, even if it meant that the bills that you were supposed to pay was gonna have to take a cut, and you're gonna have to be behind a little bit just so you can go and be out with the homies,
or show up to work drunk.
Show up to work drunk. Oh my God!
So many times, and then you're just miserable your entire shift.
Oh, the whole entire shift, and we talking about an early shift too. What was it, like 5 a.m. and stuff like that?
Well, there were times where my shift started at 3 a.m.
Yeah, so
and I would literally leave the bar. I would go home, put my uniform on, and go straight to work.
Exactly, and be miserable.
Miserable the entire shift.
You know, all because using those free moments and those off days of weekends and all this stuff and be under the influence.
And it's because you think that you're having a good time, right? And maybe you are. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some nights we had the time of our lives, you know, and a lot of times they ended up badly. You could just it's on like an emotional roller coaster, right? Because you don't know what you're getting with alcohol.
Right.
So you think that you're having such a great time, but then once that intoxication wears off, then it's all of those things that you've been using alcohol to mask just start bubbling to the surface. And then you just start feeling like you need to do those things all over again to feel better. And I'm not saying it's everybody, but I feel like for the most part, most people who are getting intoxicated or, you know, especially on that level, it's definitely you're using it as a coping mechanism. I think you always say it best. It's like you're not against drinking, you're just against yourself drinking. I also feel the same way. No shame or judgment to anybody, you know, but for us, this is just something that we no longer partake in. We don't partake in anything, to be honest. And I think so many people are so shocked, well, how do you do it? And it's like, well, we don't need substances or alcohol because we have worked on ourselves. And I think that's the most important thing is, you know, when you start getting healthy within yourself and you start dealing with all of those demons head on, then suddenly things start to become clear. And then you're like, you know what? I don't want to be clouded anymore. I don't want to use substances or alcohol to deal with my emotions, to deal with my traumas, because quite honestly, it makes it worse.
Right. I feel the same. Me personally, I pride myself on being 100% substance free, you know. Like a lot of people separate it and they say drugs and alcohol. Me personally, I feel like it's all the same to me, you know. So I don't do nothing. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. I don't even smoke cigarettes no more, you know. Same as I said, like when I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking at around the same time. It was like I probably stopped smoking actually like maybe a week before I stopped drinking. So, but getting my system clean of everything, it just put my mind on a whole nother level, and it put me back in control. And I think I needed that control of myself to make better decisions, because at the end of the day, everybody just wants to be happy. Everybody just wants to be happy. So when you see the person that's using all of these substances, we're chasing happiness, you know, and things that bring a feeling of some type of happiness. And sometimes it's escaping is where the happiness is. You don't want to feel what you're feeling, so I'm going to use this substance. This is, for me, is my happiness right now. And I think that's why we're just all chasing happiness. And sometimes what we think is bringing us happiness is actually hurting us. It's working against us achieving happiness, or it's providing a temporary relief. But I wanted something more permanent. And for me, getting something more permanent, meaning me letting everything go. And I had to just be me mentally, be 100% in control. And like I said, it's the best thing for me because I like knowing what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I know what I'm feeling, and then I sit with it and I understand it. I examine it, I dive into it. Why am I feeling? You know, because I know what I'm feeling. Why am I feeling this way? What am I going through, or what have I experienced that's making me feel this way? And I follow that rabbit hole and I try to track it down, and I try to, you know, and I solve it. I figure it out. And that brings me joy when I know, okay, this is why I was feeling this way, this and this and that, so I'll start working on that area. And now that's one less thing for me to be weak in, to where I feel like, oh, what can I use to escape from that? So that's what sobriety has done for me. It helped me make better choices in all areas of my life. It helped me treat the people that I love like I love them, because I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat of my brain. And so I'm not making a choice to do something that's gonna give me that temporary relief, because when you're doing that, you're not focused on how is my wife gonna feel, or for the women out there, they're not thinking how is my husband gonna feel, or people are not thinking how are my children gonna feel. All you're thinking is, I want to go get messed up. I want to throw all my worries away, and I just want to go and party and just be carefree for a moment. And all the decisions that you're making while you're under the influence, your family is affected by, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's really not worth it. It's really not worth it. So for me, the thing I'm happiest about is being able to be in control up here so I can guide my life in the right direction. I don't want to be like, oh, I lost everything and I can't get it back and my life is ruined because of something else, because now I feel like I'm weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, oh, I just let this, I didn't do nothing about it. And that's how it was for me. If you take away alcohol from my life, all my experiences, all the bad things that I ended up in, all the embarrassing situations, bad decisions, everything gone. If we're being realistic, and that's kind of wild, obviously I made some bad choices here and there sober. It's life. You're growing up, you're from childhood to adult. Sure, you're going to make a bad choice every now and again. But could you imagine the amount of bad decisions that wouldn't have been made had I been sober the whole entire time?
Yeah.
That's the thing right there that hits.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I feel the same way about being able to be in control, because again, that's where a lot of the embarrassing moments came from, and the bad decisions, and just like really acting out of character, like things that I would never absolutely do sober. And then I was willing to throw caution to the wind and act a fool, in public, no less. So I'm really glad that part of my life is done and over with, but I'm really glad that you brought up, the kids thing, because I think that for me, that's something that I think is so incredibly important. When you're in these situations and you do have kids, it's important to understand that, you're a role model for your children. And I think sometimes, even inadvertently, parents do things that normalize substance and alcohol use in front of their children. I work with children, so this is not something that's really uncommon to me. I've been hearing about it so often that I think about my own experiences and being a mother who would go out and get intoxicated, and you got kids at home, or come home drunk whenever you two were home by yourselves, and I would come home completely intoxicated, not even remembering, like coming home and sitting down with them in the living room. Just like those little things, I think if I were to give a piece of advice to parents, I would just say, definitely be more cautious and more aware about the things that you say and do in front of your kids, because it could be something as simple as, oh my God, I had such a hard day at work, like I need a margarita, or I need a glass of wine, or I need to go smoke, or whatever that may be, because maybe in the moment you don't really think about it, but your child is subconsciously internalizing that is how you deal with hard days. That's how you deal with stress. That's how you deal with not feeling your greatest.
That's how you cope.
Yeah, that's how you cope. And I really want us as parents, as a whole, as a community, to stop normalizing things like that in front of children. Again, neither one of us are judgmental when it comes to adults drinking alcohol. I don't care what you do. If that's your choice, then that's your choice, and that is what it is. Us personally, that is not our lifestyle. That's the choice that we have made for ourselves, and both are perfectly fine. However, I think we both do feel very strongly about the things that adults do in front of children, number one, and the type of behaviors that you normalize in front of children. So I think that's my best piece of advice for all of this. But I'm very proud of us, and it took a lot of work. For you, obviously, you've been sober a couple years longer than me. It took me a little bit longer to get on the bandwagon because I didn't think I had a problem until COVID hit. And then I realized how much, even whenever I was home by myself, how much I was drinking by myself. And that's when I realized that I had a problem, because I was more upset about them trying to close liquor stores during COVID than I was about losing my job at that time. And even that didn't click to me until I was putting away liquor bottle after liquor bottle by myself at home. And then I was like, all right, I have a problem. I have a problem. And then I started scaling back a little bit, but it did take me quite a few months. I mean, obviously I didn't get sober until 2021 in December. So it did take me a good, year and a half to finally to let it go completely. But yeah, I'm very proud of us.
When you do make that decision, like you make a decision for yourself, right? I made a decision for myself because I was being less of what I was capable of being. And the way I feel about me, like regardless of it all, like I love the true me that's always been in there. And me dealing with my depression and everything, I think that's one of the reasons why I always ran to the bottle. And then while running to the bottle and all the decisions that was made during being intoxicated, I gave myself more reasons to be depressed. When you add up more bad decisions, more embarrassing moments, all of this stuff, more money gone, you know what I'm saying? More debt. It's like I kept giving myself more reasons to be more depressed. And so it's like, okay, and what do you do when you're depressed? Go get some more alcohol. It was just this weird cycle. And once I broke out of that for me, because I said, I know that there's more to me than this. I know that I'm better than this. Like, I can be so much more than what I was allowing myself to be. I wanted to be the best partner I can be. I wanted to be the best father I could be. I wanted to be the best son I could be, because my mother did everything she could to raise me to be a good person, to be a good man. So all of these things would all pile in my head, and I'm like, I can be so much better. I deserve more. My son deserves more. Everybody I love deserves more from me, and I know I'm capable of it. I deserve more from me. Jesus. And so by me actually doing that though, like it made me proud of me. And once I became proud of myself, I was like, okay, now I'm addicted to something else now. Now I'm addicted to achieving more days on top of my sobriety. I just wanted to just continue doing it to prove the old me wrong and say, I can actually do better. And I stick with it. And I love it. And I just love piling days on and days on. And when you make that decision for yourself, you're not thinking about other people being inspired by you at all, Right. So it's like, it's an unexpected effect that you have on other people. I didn't tell my wife, hey, you got to stop drinking. You need to be sober because I'm not drinking, so you shouldn't be drinking. No, that was not a conversation that we had.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, you told me that if I decided to keep drinking, that was okay. And then I think that I had said, okay, well, as long as I don't do it around you or do it in the house. I think we had that specific discussion.
Right.
But then for me, I was like, okay, well, I knew that we were potentially moving into marriage. And yeah, of course, it was 100% for me as well. But at the same time, it was for us as a family, because I wanted to be also the best version of myself for us, and restarting our lives together as a sober, couple.
Right. And that makes sense, because although we do it 100% for ourselves, because you have to do it for yourself in order. If you want to be successful at breaking habits, addictions, all that type of stuff, you have to do it for you, because if it ain't for you. Whatever outside reason you have for yourself, once that goes away,
Yep.
you're gonna fall right back into it. So you got to do it for yourself, and by doing it for ourselves, as a direct effect, our family, everything gets to benefit from that. Yeah, we want a great family, a great marriage, all that. That's still for us, you know what I'm saying? Because if I got a great marriage, that's more happiness for me in my life. Yeah, my wife is happy because of it too, but we're all happy, but it's still for me, you know what I'm saying? It's still because I'm involved in this marriage. I'm involved in this family. You know, so we're still doing it for ourselves, as everyone should be. Do it for yourself, because the happier you are, the happier you can make everybody else around you. Wayne Dyer, he says something like that. You can only give what's inside of you. If you don't have it in you, you can't give it. You know what I'm saying? You can't give it. So, you know, that's why you got to pour into yourself, and then you can distribute that amongst your family and the people you love, all that type of stuff. But I mean, the wild thing about it is, I mean, 2024, we all know the health risk and everything involved in consuming alcohol, you know, if we're speaking about alcohol specifically. When I got sober, people would look at me funny, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that
like,
happens
like
so
I was,
often.
like I was, all of a sudden, I became the weirdo. I'm the weirdo that ain't drinking. Instead, I want to drink some hot chocolate. You know what I'm saying?
Some hot tea. Don't let him fool you.
Some hot chocolate, some hot tea, a sundae, a delicious drink, a delicious beverage. You know, but since it wasn't alcohol, like something wrong with me.
Right, because that's the thing with our society, and I don't know how it is across the world, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to what we're doing here. We normalize drinking, we normalize smoking weed, we normalize doing all of these things. So yeah, like we're the weirdos now because we don't do anything. I even think twice before I take ibuprofen or Tylenol, you know, because it's just, I've been asked so many times, so not even weed? Like you guys don't even smoke weed? No cigarettes? No. The answer is no. And I'm happier
and we
for
don't,
it.
and we don't fiend for it. We all right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know,
like I promise you, once you decide to get sober and you're healthy within yourself and you're doing the right things, you like don't even think twice about it.
No.
Like it just never even crosses your mind to be like, oh, I could really use a drink right now, or maybe just one won't hurt. Like those things don't really.
No, and even the temptation of it, like once I made up my mind, like my mind was made up for real, for real. When I said I'm tired of living the life I was living, I was for real. I wanted to start over. I just wanted to transform because I wanted better. I wanted better. Nothing tempted me. If I had to perform inside of a bar, not once did I think I might as well go take a shot. Obviously, you know, people offering to buy you drinks. Oh, let me get you. This round's on us. It was like, no, this round is all yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I got a Gatorade or something. You know, like I'm good. But it's like my mind was made up. So it's like, I wasn't even like, oh, you know what, maybe just one ain't bad. No, because what was at risk? No drink was worth me risking messing up and going back on that path again. Like, it's like, no, I'm doing so much better now. Nothing is worth it. You cannot bribe me. I know the me that I'm aiming to be, and this choice right here is going to ruin it. So I was set. I was golden. That's just the importance of it. You making up your mind, getting to a point where you're ready. And you know what I'm saying? When you're ready, like you know you're ready. When you tired of it, you tired of it. You know, and we were tired of it. You know, and Maxie over there coughing, he was tired of it.
He's tired of hearing us talk.
He's tired of hearing us talk.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, you're talking about, you know, being tired, and I feel like that is really what alcohol did for us. We were tired because we were so robbed of so many fruitful things that could have been our lives at the time, but just weren't happening. You know, we were robbed of our time, robbed of our relationship.
Yeah.
We were robbed of our family time together. We were robbed of money, basically. You know, we were definitely living paycheck to paycheck and scrounging sometimes. I was working multiple jobs. You were working multiple jobs. And still we're struggling. So
Yeah.
those days are in the past.
Yeah.
And life is so much better for it.
Yeah, and you know what? And being robbed of our health, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, even when I made a post about it, it wasn't the first thing I mentioned because realistically, our health is like the last thing that we, as humans, we're so complacent, so we're like thinking about, we want some money, we want a relationship, we want some love. There's a whole lot of other things that we're like, oh, and I want to be healthy, you know what I'm saying? But as a result of being sober and being substance free, you're so much healthier. I'm sure that some of our youthful appearances comes from us just not using any drugs and stuff of that nature. It's just, that's just one of the truths about it, I feel like.
I know. Sometimes I look at pictures of us even from back then, and I feel like we look younger now than we did back then.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. Also, I was like the heaviest that I ever was when I was drinking all the time. So I had that situation. It was a lot, and I'm glad that we don't do those things no more.
Yeah,
I'll take my glass of water and
any
be
day.
good.
It's because it's what's good for us. Once again, whatever anybody want to do for their life, y'all do for your life. Do what works for you, but keep in mind what I just said works. Do what works for you. If what you're doing isn't working for you, then you have to take that accountability and look in the mirror and say, why am I doing what I'm doing? If it's not giving you the life that you really, truly want, and you know that in your heart, not when you're around your friends, saying, yeah, this is the great time. Yeah, we living it up. We have, like when you at home by yourself and you look in the mirror, like how you really feel, how do you really feel? And if what you're doing isn't working for you, then you have to start making some changes. And that's what it was for us. What we were doing wasn't working for us. So we needed to make some changes because the type of life that we wanted, what we were doing was not going to allow us to be who we are today and to have the love that we have today. So, yeah, that's why we made the decision to do better for us, to do better for our family. And I'm happy we did.
Yes, me too.
I'm happy we did. I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Because even though, I got the 6 years and you got 2 years and some change, but 2 years is a long time. Like, don't get it twisted. 2 years is a long time. You don't think 2 years is a long time? Loan somebody $50 and then let them say, I'm going to pay you back in 2 years. 2 years is a long time. I'm just saying. And at the end of the day, yes, we were robbed. We were robbed of so much. And I feel like we went and got it all back, too.
Yeah, we definitely did.
So I hope somebody can get something from this. I hope maybe this will inspire somebody. Maybe this will serve as a congratulations to people who are already on the path, and they can understand that there's so many more people out here in the world just like you.
Yes, let's normalize this.
There's so many sober people out here. Like, it's like they out there. We out here. You ain't by yourself because it can be lonely. I understand the path to sobriety. A lot of the lifestyle that you're used to involves a bunch of people who drink all the time, or smoke all the time, whatever. But there are so many people who don't, and you just have to keep staying on your path and get yourself involved in other normal life things, and you're going to run into people who are also sober. We're out here. Do we have all the answers? No. We don't have all the answers. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of situation. We have our experience, and all we can do is share our experience and how we did what we did. And not only how we did what we did, but why we did what we did and how we stuck to it. If you guys got any methods of how to help somebody who's struggling, leave that type of stuff in the comment section and say, what are you doing to keep you on the path of sobriety and everything? What are you doing? What helps you? What is your reason? What is your why? We can try to help each other as much as we can because you're not in this alone ever. Somebody can say something that can be the thing that you was waiting to hear that can finally get you going and get you to where you've been looking to go. That was slick. I don't know how I put that together, but it made it work at the end. I'm proud of me. All right.